I got to get this in the background. It's an enormous stork. A stork or a crane. They're just behind me. And if I turn around, you'll get to see the Black Ball Ferry. I think it's going to go past behind me. It's on its way out to sea as I record this monologue. All right, hopefully the stork doesn't take off here. Any symbolism is purely unintentional. I think that everyone is massively underestimating the scale, the significance, and the seriousness of the female incel problem. And we do it in a strangely denigrating, self-serving way. People want to believe, as part of the 21st century cult of wishful thinking, people want to think that anything that is a limitation for you, anything that's self-selected, is therefore not a real limitation. Like, if the limitations in your life have to do with how you feel or what you want, that somehow that's something very different from who you are or circumstances that are beyond your control. All right? So therefore, women who say, in whatever terms and using whatever jargon, women who say honestly enough that they are incels, that this is what they're struggling with, or this is the greatest tragedy of their life, that they're looking for someone to love, they're really demeaned and dismissed, as if it were the case that their standards, the demands they bring to the mating game, their standards are just so many chains that they've used to limit themselves. You know, like, oh, well, if only you were willing to sleep with a drug addict, if only you didn't have this irrational feeling that you only want to be in bed with somebody you trust or respect or love, you know, this wouldn't be a limiting factor for you, as if it's the woman's fault in this way. Now, my perspective on this has really changed in the last year. Just about a year ago, I would have focused almost entirely on the issue of bitterness, you know, the way in which past experience can embitter women, and they end up being limited, there's that word again, by their own negative experiences in the past. You know, and obviously that was a perspective very much created by my own direct face-to-face experience with particular real women in the particular world. I knew women who would approach their next relationship very much informed by and embittered by their last relationship, or the cumulative experience of disappointments and betrayals of so many relationships came before. And of course, they could be unaware of this. The reasons we're talking about is you think, well, if you could be made aware of this, maybe you can change, maybe you can overcome it, and maybe you can cope better with it. And of course, maybe you can't. Oh, you're gonna get to see this enormous boat in the background now. Perfect timing. Well, where is it? There you go. That's the Black Ball Ferry on its way to Seattle. The where it actually hits land on the other side is closer to Forks than it is the big city. All right. What is a limitation for you subjectively is a real limitation. It's not unreal. It can't be ignored or dismissed or overcome just because it's subjective. Limitations that are a result of what you desire, what you need to feel loved, what you need to feel respected. It's the realest thing in the world, especially when this is what we're talking about, right? So to demean and dismiss people as if, hey, this is just a limitation you can get over. And, you know, this issue of bitterness among these various limitations, it is an especially interesting one because women can be embittered at any age. You can be embittered at 18 because the relationships you had when you were 16. You can be embittered at age 25 because you're looking around saying, this isn't what I wanted my life to be like when I was 25. You can be embittered because you thought, when I finished college, my life wouldn't be this way. Again, it's like that old saying, unsafe at any speed. You can be embittered at any age. You can be disappointed by men. You can be disappointed by your culture, by your civilization, by your surroundings, right? You can be disappointed by the system of education, by the economy. What in reality are your options in life now? You know, and your romantic options. What are options for you romantically? That may just be one part of the puzzle. And what the puzzle adds up to is a picture of bitterness and of regret that, you know, if you're a woman, no man can help you with that. That's not a problem any man can solve. No man can be wonderful enough, giving enough, caring enough, loving enough to console you for bitterness that, as I say, may relate to decades of past negative experience, or it may relate to your own kind of unvoiced critique of the culture and civilization that you're living in. See, that was very much my focus, say, 1 year ago. My perspective now has a lot more to do with the tendency that so many women have of lying to themselves about who they are. And I find with women are maybe 20% different from men this way. I find with women, they very often do lie, not about what they want, but about who they are, and therefore how they're going to feel and how they're going to respond when they get it. I mean, I went through this situation with Melissa, and there were many, many different layers of lies and deception to be dealt with in unpacking what I went through with Melissa over the past year. But one of the most telling features of that scandal, shall we say, was the extent to which, Melissa lied to herself about, very simply put, the kind of person she is. There are some women who could film themselves naked, film themselves masturbating, send it to a guy on the internet, and it's all just a laugh. They'd be cool with it, they'd be relaxed, it wouldn't have a big impact on their lives. When Melissa did that behind my back, very much without my permission and without my knowledge, very much contrary to the rules of the relationship, when she was doing that as an attempt to cheat on me, she developed symptoms of severe clinical depression in response to it. And in going through the timeline of the actual messages and when those things happened, I can remember, I remember how morose she was, how miserable she made herself, the way in which she drove herself crazy with this kind of frankly slutty behavior that just wasn't her. Now, again, I really do mean this sincerely. Some other woman could handle that situation and could tell me about it in a relaxed, joking way and be like, oh yeah, I met this guy online, I thought I liked him, I sent him some naked pictures of myself, have a laugh, who gives a damn? There are women who can handle that. But is that you? Are you being honest with yourself about who you are? So again, very separate from, are you being honest with yourself about what you want? Because who you are has everything to do with how you're going to feel once you get it. Now, I think we trivialize and dismiss female inceldom at our peril. I think it indicates a lot of really serious problems that we're either going to deal with now in a way that's honest and open, or we're going to deal with later in a way that's covert and dangerous. The misery that women of all ages go through. And look, I'm a good-looking woman my own age at the gym tried to hit on me within the last couple of days. And, she's good-looking for her age. She's in great shape for her age. And the reality is, I'm in a situation to say to her, I have turned down offers from women 20 years younger than you and that are way better looking. Now, I did not say that. As with so many of these interactions, she picked up on almost immediately that I wasn't interested or that I wasn't considering an option. But that's an older woman, that's a woman in her 40s who's working out so hard at the gym, and she doesn't stand a chance with me, I myself am part of the problem. In the same way that, male incels can complain about how hard the competition is, can complain about how hopeless their own situation is because of the better alternatives these women have who've turned them down, right? Take a minute and think about it from the woman's perspective. The fact that these women can't be happy having sex with just anyone doesn't mean that they're not incels. It doesn't mean that their problem, their struggle, their crisis isn't real. I think that understanding what the limitations are that they impose upon themselves only deepens our understanding of the problem. And one of the main pieces of advice I give to male incels is pointing out that the first steps, the first stages of a romantic relationship tend to be just finding the other person interesting, not gorgeous, not necessarily gorgeous, not necessarily brilliant, not wealthy, not powerful, not high status, not any of that stuff. Do you find someone interesting enough to strike up a conversation? And what I see with female incels of all ages is that they tend to be women who developed a sense of entitlement, as men do too, don't get me wrong. And then they're just astonished to find that they failed to ever become an interesting person. They failed to become a person with enough, intellectual impetus, enough substance, enough sense of mission and purpose and personal integrity that anybody wants to talk to them. And of course, there are some men who want to have sex with them, but those are not the men they would want to have sex with. This is not a minor paradox in the 21st century. It's a major one. Women, like men, spend the first 20 years of their life, maybe the first 25 years, reaching out for happiness when they should instead be reaching out for a meaningful life. And if you don't develop the rudiments of a meaningful life in your 20s, can you ever get back to it once you're in your 30s? And if you don't figure out how to live a meaningful life in cooperation with others, in intimate relations with other people, whether that's monogamous or polyamorous, you sure as shit don't stand a chance of doing it alone.